Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the interrogation room number 2.
Yeah.
It's on.
And this is my turn. I get to interrogate you. We're here for this is our 4th interrogation room.
Yes.
With the lovely Bernard Curry, aka Jake the Snake Stewart.
Hi, everyone.
And we finally get to interrogate Bernie. We get to unpack all of the questions that we've been wanting to unpack about Jake.
I'm a little nervous.
You should be. I'm
Yep.
scary.
Yeah, that's right.
Have the other guys not told you? I'm pretty hardcore at interrogating.
Kel's she's hardcore. Yeah,
I'm
she
hardcore.
goes hard.
I'm not holding back. I'm going all in.
And this is water, by the way. It's not like I'm drinking scotch.
It's actually vodka. What we're going to do first is what we do every single week, and we're going to unpack the episode that everyone just watched.
Yep.
Ep 4, big ep. Let's start with, wow, we finally found out what Sonia's all about. We spent a lot of time out of the prison this week.
Yeah.
We found out that Dawn was in on it, and she let us know exactly what she did and how she did it.
Yeah.
And then she ended up back in the slammer.
Yeah, an interesting episode actually because, it's one of the few episodes where we actually don't spend that much time inside the prison. It's a lot of the time we're outside, we're exploring what happens to Sonia on the outside and her journey on the way sort of back in, I guess. But yeah, and it's also a big episode. Well, I think it's a big episode for Jake because it's kind of got that transition of he's kind of, I guess he kind of has to make a decision in this episode as to whether he's going to step up the whole drug thing, and then obviously it's he finds out the CSDS has been called in, and trying to work out why they were called in and why he wasn't involved in any of that decision making. And it turns out that Will actually called or suggested that the CSDS were called in, but Vera didn't actually even mention it to Jake either. So there's a little bit of why would she not mention it? Is she a bit sus on Jake, a bit, why, as
the paranoia starting to set in.
a little bit of paranoia, and then it's, I guess then it's that comes down to Jake and Ferguson and the decision to kind of change conduit to try and get into, to try and change the way that the drugs are brought into the prison to make it obviously more, kind of, you can higher volume of drugs to come into the prison, and that all really comes down to, I think it comes down to the, from the start of this season, and then obviously from the end of last season, where we see what Jake has done to get himself out of a situation, i.e. he's helped Ferguson out by, killing Nels Jasper. And he, from the start of this season, I think his pure MO has been to try and get as far away from Ferguson as he can. And that, if that means running as many drugs into the prison, making as much money as he can, and then just severing ties, even quitting his job and, kind of getting out of that whole situation and going to Thailand or something and opening a bar or whatever and just checking out, then that's what he's going to do. And
he just wants to break free. I mean, you can sense the desperation, from the end of season 4 to where we are now in the first 4 eps, you can sense that Jake is like, I just want to break free of this freak. I don't want to be tied to her anymore. Yeah. I feel, and this isn't just my personal opinion, he's having some genuine feelings for Vera and he's not liking the situation that he's put in.
Of course, yeah, that's right.
And he's like, so how do I get out of this? I team up with Tina Mercado and I pump drugs in till I get enough money.
Right.
But it's not as easy as that. It's never as easy as that for Jake. It's like he has an idea and then this happens and then that happens and then this happens.
It's never as easy as that with the freak. That's the real, because she's always about 1, 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of everybody else. And Jake, even, I think Jake is probably, he kind of matches her in some of his kind of decision making and stuff, but she's a pretty smart lady, and she sort of seems to always be a little bit 1 or 2 steps ahead of him, and kind of always kind of has him by the balls once. Yeah. It all comes out in the wash and everything. So he's sort of scrambling. Like it's kind of he tries this and then he tries that, and he's quite desperate to move away from the freak and to he's gonna make enough money getting drugs into the system, paying off Ferguson, even though she says it was a deal. No, well, she said it was a deal. Like, you don't owe me any money because what you did was penance enough for the outlay that I helped you out with the drug deal that kind of went south. But at the same time, yes, she owns him, and he knows that she could out him at any time and say that he killed Niels Jasper, and it would be, it'd be hard for her to prove it, but it would still kind of match up. All I'd have to do is check the roster, and he obviously exited the prison just before Niels Jasper was killed, and he came back pretty soon after. So, it would be... She knows it would kind of come crashing down. It's enough to hold
him, for her to have a hold of him.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so while we're still talking about that, because I'm just loving this angle, what people want to know is, and we've chatted about this a lot, is what is Jake's angle? Like, is he a good guy caught up with bad shit, or is he like an actual bad guy? And he, I think he's a good guy caught up in bad shit, but let you unpack that.
Look, I think you're right. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a good guy deep down. He doesn't want to hurt anybody, and I think what the writers have been having fun with is the juxtaposition between Jake and the freak. The freak is kind of a psychopath who has really no empathy for anybody else and will just make decisions for her own means and ends, and regardless of how that will affect anybody, good or bad, doesn't really care. Jake, on the other hand, certainly feels the weight of his actions. Obviously the reaction that he had to when he killed Niels Jasper was one of incredible remorse. He couldn't believe that he'd done it. He felt sick. He was, he obviously felt guilt about what he'd done. But he is also the kind of guy that will cross the line, and we've seen him do it time and time again. And it's survival. I think he's a survivor, and that's, I think, one of the key words with Jake. Whatever he does, it's for his own, survival, self-preservation. And he is willing to cross that line. He is willing to make big decisions and take big actions to keep himself alive, keep himself
ahead
going.
Above water. Yeah.
And I think there's also a great word which has been used by Marcia, who's the head writer, and it's duplicitous, meaning that he kind of is. There's
two sides to him.
There's two sides to Jake. He has the capacity to love and to be compassionate and feel all of the weight of his actions and everything. But at the same time, he can make decisions that he knows will probably hurt somebody, but that's the decision that has to be made. And
he's got to put himself first, because he's got to survive.
That's right.
It's like that.
That's right.
Survival. No.
Yep.
And then that brings us to, that's a great segue into, let's unpack the Jake and Vera thing, because obviously Vera, she's just really breaking down her barriers, and she's had them up really high, and Jake is so charming and so, genuine it feels when he has his affections towards Vera. Yeah. And he's slowly breaking down her wall, and she's becoming vulnerable. And that's a good thing for Vera, because she needs it.
That's right.
But then people are scared because they're like, but it's Jake doing it, and what's he going to do with that vulnerability?
That's right. How will he take advantage of that?
Yeah.
Look, I think he has, for Vera, I think he has a genuine affection. I don't think it's a purely a manipulative kind of action that he's taking, where he's trying to manipulate her in every sense of what his agenda is. But he is, he does. I think he does feel genuine affection for her, and I think he's really over the course of time, he's actually really. There may be even a case where he actually falls, finds that he falls in love with her and stuff, and that, I think that would be an incredible kind of kind of blockage for him, or I guess
a turning point almost.
Turning point, or a kind of a source of conflict within his own sense of self, and how does he deal with that if that does happen? Because it's fair to say that he has a kind of an open loathing for Joan Ferguson.
Yes.
And he doesn't have to hide that. She doesn't really care about that.
Well, she wouldn't care if he loathed it or not. As long as she's got the.
She doesn't care what anybody.
What do we talk
thinks
about? What do we say at the beginning of the season? As long as she's got the puppet strings.
Yeah.
She doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, that's right. So it's all about power. And look, I think one of the main key words of Wentworth as a whole television series is power, and that obviously
who's got it, who abuses it,
who needs it, who wants it, who has it, and what will somebody do to get it,
or not lose it,
and that is true for almost every character within within this story, and it's such an interesting environment because a prisoner, regardless of whether they're a woman or a man, is kind of essentially disempowered because they're locked up. They haven't got the freedoms that normal people have. But it's because of whatever happened, whatever actions they took, and deemed against the law, and then they've been incarcerated. So how in that situation does one still have power? Top dog obviously is the ultimate power within the prison system, but there's also many other ways that you can get power, and it's a really interesting kind of dynamic that is explored within every single character in the show. And obviously Jake there's part of that as well. And there's the thought, because I did think in my mind, I wondered whether Jake actually has designs on becoming governor of the prison, and I don't think he does.
I thought that too, and then I thought, look, I understand why he rebelled in. He didn't aim to be deputy, but he saved himself. He didn't do that to Will. He just self-preserved himself, which is what we've just been talking about.
That's right.
And then the fallout of that was that Will lost his deputy governor title, and
Jake would happily hand it straight back to him.
And I think genuinely he would.
Absolutely, because I think he wants to fly under the radar. Well, with what he's actually doing in the prison, he doesn't want to draw too much attention to himself. And becoming governor, or becoming even deputy governor, does that, and he doesn't need that kind of focus on him. He needs to just operate on his own level and just sort of fly under the radar and do his thing. Have
a good enough relationship there so he knows what's going on, but get the information and then go, do it as he needs to.
Yeah, he can still have power within that prison system without having actual power in the hierarchy.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, hang on, I'm just trying to think of everything else that happened in this episode. So the other thing that we saw in this episode was the freak seized an opportunity. So she sort of saw, she saw that the foiled drug trade that Jake was trying to do with Tina wasn't working.
Yeah.
She decided to seize the opportunity to sort of, again, draw power and go, if I team up with Juice's boys and Tina Ricardo and come up with an alternative solution, which we don't know what that is yet, but a different drug conduit to bring it in.
Yeah.
It helps you bring the drugs in. It helps her get relationships with these two players. But we've all got to be thinking, like, what is
her agenda? Yeah, that's
What is the agenda?
You can see that there's a long game going on inside the machinations of her mind, and there always is. I mean, that's one of the true things about Joan Ferguson is that, like we were saying before, she's always a few steps ahead of everybody else, and there's always an agenda. She's not doing any of this just for shits and gigs. It's just, she knows that there is always an end game to what she's playing. And that's one of the delicious things about the story is where is she going? And people can speculate one way or the other about what her ultimate goal is. But it's part of the whole the excitement of watching this show is that you kind of don't know what's going on. And Jake is, I guess, a pawn in that chess game of hers. I mean, the chess is one of those themes that is used quite a lot, along with the fencing sort of thing. But chess is also a heavy theme with Joan Ferguson, where she's she's playing a game of
Yeah.
chess, and she has the pawns, and she has the rook and the knight, and she's working out exactly where she wants these players to be for her to enact whatever.
And it's almost too, I can't remember the exact line, I'm going to wordsmith it, but it's like these little fallouts that she's having with Vera where Vera's winning. It's like, you won that battle, Vera.
Yeah.
But there's a whole war to win.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
right.
she's definitely, I think, made it very, very clear that her current plan is, or her current is to take Vera down. Without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Vera's the reason she's sitting there. Vera's the reason that's prevented her from getting out and doing what she was going to do. So it's like, I need to take her down, and then...
But you can see that she enjoys the fight, though.
Yeah.
You know? When she appreciates when Vera outmoves her on the chessboard, she appreciates that that's a good move. You can see that she's quite enjoying the jousting of that, you know. And then Jake also has, you know, they kind of have a bit of a sparring match between Ferguson and Jake where, you know, he you know, kind of does make decisions to kind of play Ferguson and stuff, even though she is probably 1 or 2 steps ahead of him. She enjoys the dance.
Yeah,
and
she
you
does.
can see that. Yeah.
She revels in it almost.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what makes the Freak such an interesting character.
That's right, and it's also because there is a certain knowingness as well that you think that she knows. She was anticipating that move, you know, and she kind of well, okay, I was sort of anticipating that move, and she's got a counter to that move each time.
Yeah. And sometimes you just go, oh God, how did you see that coming? Like it's very strategic.
Yeah.
Before we move on and start chatting all about you, let's unpack the last thing of this episode, which is a big one, is that Ali finally figured out what Frankie's up to.
Yes.
And Frankie's planning an escape.
Yeah.
What?
I know. Well, you know, the thing is, I think everybody is probably behind her on that. You know, I think the audience actually probably rooting for her to try and, you know, to get out, to, you know, kind of clear her name and exonerate herself, and that is you know, that's a strong theme, I think, for Frankie, is that whole freedom, that kite, and that essence of she just needs her freedom so much. You know, that's her. I think that's her power. That's what empowers her, is that yearning for freedom, and she will do anything. You can see she's a very single-minded person. If she sets her mind to something, she will achieve it. You know, so that is something that it's really I think is really an interesting path forward to watch what happens there. And, you know, you can probably see that Ali will, there might be a kind of a team thing going on between Frankie and Ali. But that obviously will probably develop in the next few episodes. But, you know, if they kind of team up, then there'd be sort of a formidable force in, you know.
They've all, and I think the thing is, there was a line tonight, and sorry guys, I know you probably know it by heart, and I'm going to wordsmith it, but it was around about saying, you were there for me with B, and so I'm going to be there for you with this.
Right.
And it's as if B brought us together, and
that's right.
This is what we're meant to do.
Yeah.
Which is really nice, and it explains that. But I do think that Ali's lost right now. She's looking for something, and she doesn't know what to do, so she's like, well, B introduced me to you, she brought you to my life, so I'm going to follow this.
And what else have I got to kind of live for at the moment?
Yeah.
You know, this is something that might turn into, who knows, might turn into a deep friendship, it might even turn into something more. That's, you know, obviously you can see that there is the potential for another love story to kind of happen, and it's the B Smith kind of conduit through that, which would sort of still be acceptable, I guess, but... so yeah, that's another thing to be looking out for. And
speaking of friendships, I'd love to get your point on this. I have, and the fans have too, been absolutely loving the rekindled chemistry between the Frankie and Boomer.
Yep.
Rejoining.
Yeah. And
the scenes in which, I guess, the way I describe Boomer this season today is that she's been like that bridge for all of us fans that are not dealing with all the changes. And as you see, she's been that relatable character that's like, I don't like change, everything's changing, I don't want this to change, and we're all like, we hear you, Boomer, we all feel the same. She's had this great sense of continuity and bringing us through each episode going, it's okay, she's struggling with the change too, but moving on with the storylines. And there was that relationship and that friendship that they had, that they picked back up, and it's just been so playful and lovely.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, it's been very different with Frankie because you can go, Booms, like, I can see that you've missed me and I want to be here, but I'm not here for long term. Like, this is very, very short lived.
Yeah.
So I think we've seen that up until now, and then tonight's episode really sealed it as in, like, Frankie was never going to stay around. Whether she got exonerated by legal accord, or this is the new plan, she was destined to go, I'm not going to get stuck in this place.
No, that's right.
This is it. I'm out.
She's going to get out of there one way or another, and you can see that determination. And you know, she doesn't. I guess she doesn't want to sort of get too close to Booms because she knows that she'll break her heart if she does get out, and you know, and another person leaving. You know, there's that beautiful line where she says, "Everyone I care about leaves me."
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking. But it's, you know, Boomer kind of is in many ways a sort of a bit of a tragic character. You know, where she doesn't, you know, she sort of doesn't have the smarts that some people have, but at the same time she's so emotionally driven and just so deeply kind of affected by friendships and companionship and everything like that. You can see that she's, you know, that she really needs people in her life, and you know, these are her family.
That's a great way to put it. This is her family, and it's all changing and it's moving, and it's a struggle for her. I've been loving that storyline on the side. I think it's been a great way to take us from episode to episode when we're dealing with so many changing, twisting story arcs that we're all like, oh my god, what's happening? And then you've got this nice little
And
piece.
look, Katrina and Nicole are you know, they bring such, like you said, playfulness and such beauty to that storyline and to those characters that it just works. It works so beautifully, and you really, it's one of the touching kind of things about the show, and you know the Boomer character, you know, so it's great the way that they bring life to those characters and to that little kind of union is a beautiful thing. You know,
and it's that little bit of light that we need with all the darkness.
That's right. Yeah.
We love the darkness, and we love being on the edge of our seat and screaming at the TV, but we also love to be like, oh, at the same time.
And also laughing at Burns, because she's got a lot of comedy moments in there as well.
She does.
It's good to laugh with her.
She does.
Yeah.
All right, enough about that. We've unpacked that, guys. We've unpacked this episode.
Right.
I'm going to get super hardcore on Bernie, and we're going to talk about Bernie. So,
oh yeah.
The last 3 weeks, we've been nothing but talking Logies. Logies happened.
Yep.
It's all done. We're still recovering.
Yes.
Physically, mentally, and in every other way, shape, or form. So let's give everyone a quick Logies wrap, because we were both there. We can.
Yep.
You want to give some people a wrap of what the red carpet was like, what the vibe was like in the room, what the Foxtel after party was like.
Well, look, I love the Logies. It's fun. I mean, look, to be perfectly honest, I always feel as though the Logie Awards is more about selling magazines and advertising on a TV network than it is about celebrating an industry. But at the same time, you're in a room with all of the people within the industry, and there are lots of people. Like, it's a real catch up. I mean, I've been working in this industry since I was 16 years of age. So it's a long time, but I've been in the industry and I've met a lot of people through the course of that time. And whenever you go to the Logies, it's all of those people in the one room. So it's a really great energy within the room. And the red carpet's always, you know, great fun because it's kind of all that sort of jostling for lots of cameras going off.
Let's just say
it's hectic.
It's hectic.
Oh yeah, I mean it's an absolute shit show at times. You're getting kind of herded through this kind of morass of people.
Being herded, but hang on, stop and eat some grass here and eat some grass here, and then keep going. Right, yeah. Or like, we want this meat, but not that meat.
You've got your publicist your publicist is there trying to kind of get you in with different kind of publications or whatever, and you know, so it's and look, to a certain extent, it's you sort of have to take a bit of a back seat sometimes and go, look. It's about the popular vote within this thing. So people who are on commercial networks, you know, the home and aways and the sort of all, you know,
free to air stuff.
The free to air stuff. less so the shows that are on cable, that are on Foxtel. But at the same time, it's we, you know, I feel like we were celebrated. The Wentworth itself was celebrated quite well, because it was nominated in both categories of most popular drama
first year
and most outstanding, which is a peer voted thing. I mean, most outstanding, it's, you know, that's a fairly I think we've been nominated each year that we've been.
But this is the first for best, and I've talked to so many of the crew about the cast about this too, in saying that, you know, kudos to Foxtel subscribers and fans, because to get that nomination, they had to, 1, subscribe to Foxtel, 2, watch the show, but then 3, love the show enough to go and vote for it. Whereas most people can just turn on the TV and vote and say, I like this. So that's huge. Accolade for this show.
That's
right. For the fans of this show, that they actually take the time to go do that.
And the actual ratings numbers for Foxtel are around the 100,000 sort of live viewers and stuff, whereas something like Home and Away regularly gets 800,000, a million people per night. You know, so there's a huge disparity between those numbers, and that's people who are voting. So yeah, for a show like Wentworth to get the popular vote is a really great thing, and
it's a win in itself.
Yeah, that's right.
I was so proud of the show and everyone and our fans that they got behind it and got us there. So whether we won or lost, and everyone kind of had the same sentiment, it was about getting the nom.
That's right, and you know, for Danielle as well and Nicole that were nominated, I think they really genuinely felt as though they you know, it was sort of validated their work within the show just to be nominated, and you know, and it always is. It's not always about awards, but just to be nominated for the work that you do is validation enough that what you're doing is good, and people are connecting to that, and they really appreciate that and they love it. So I think they were happy to be nominated, just to, you know, and for the show to be nominated.
I think And then, you know, look, the drama that was celebrated this year was very different. I mean, look at how many of Foxtel shows won and picked up awards for other dramas that local productions have been producing. That's not happened before. So I think there's definitely a shift in the paradigm in from going from what's most popular or what's got most eyes on it to what is actually really cutting edge
genuinely
drama.
Good drama, that's right.
Yeah. So we won't talk about the after party. We'll leave that there. It happens.
It was fun. No, we had fun. Like, it was actually we were hanging out with you know, some old friends that like Damon Herriman, we've known for a long time. My wife Sonia actually came out to the after party. So she didn't come to the actual Logies, but she came to meet us at the after party. It was great. We had you know, it all goes too fast though. It's like,
I know, because you don't get to the after party till like 1, and then
it gets to 3 a.m.
and you're like, I've only been here for 2 hours. And it's 3 a.m.
Yeah, or 6 a.m.
As some people. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Here's one of my interrogation room questions.
Oh yeah.
When you were offered the role of Jake,
yes,
talk us through your first thoughts.
There's a good story to this actually, and I'll tell it. It might take a little while. I'll try and do the abridged version. But I was living in America at the time, living in LA, and I was there with my wife, and we have 2 kids, 2 boys, Fox and Banjo, and they and we were just kind of living in LA. Sonia was working at UCLA, and I was working as an actor, doing guest roles on, you know, lots of different stuff. I did Pretty Little Liars, NCIS, CSI, Once Upon a Time, you know, a bunch of stuff, and it was great. And then I was a friend of mine, Jacinta Stapleton, was there, you know, and we would sort of, whenever you do a self-tape for an audition, you need someone to help you do it, and set up the camera and everything, and someone reads opposite you so that you get to do your self-tape. And she rang me up, she said, I need you to help me do a self-tape. And I'm like, great, no worries. And the only wall that we had, I had to move my youngest Banjo's cot out of the way, and then there was a blank wall there. And it was in the boys' kind of room, and so we did this thing, and it was for Wentworth, which I had never seen. I'd heard that they had done a reimagining of Prisoner, but I hadn't actually seen any of it. And so she was auditioning for the role of Ali, and then as we finished the read, and she did a great job. she said, you know that there's another role in this. There's a guy role in that they're casting at the moment. And I was like, oh, send me the sides and send me the materials. She had all of the materials, and she sent that email to me, and I was looking at it going, this seems like it's right in my wheelhouse. You know, this kind of character feels right for me. And so I actually reached out to the casting director, Nathan, and said, do you mind if I put a self-tape down for this? And he said, yeah, of course, absolutely. It's kind of time sensitive. It needs to be done tomorrow. But so then I called Jacinda. I said, come back. We're going to switch it around. I'm going to do it. You know, I learnt this material in no time at all. And then we sort of just reversed roles, and I did the read for Jack. And it was about 2.5 weeks later, which in American time, 2.5 weeks that's it, it's done. You just forget about it and move on. And I'd sort of forgotten about it. And then Nathan emails me. He says, you're in the mix for this. Like, they like you. They really like you for this role. We need you to do a callback self-tape at a more, not in your kids' room.
What's wrong? What's wrong with
that? They have lots of these sort of higher end kind of self-tape studios in LA and stuff. They have a few in Australia as well. But and so I went and did that. Did another sort of, and I actually talked to Amenta, who's the series producer, and chatted to him about the character and all the little adjustments he wanted to make for the character. And I went and did the next audition, and then it was still after that. It was another couple of weeks after that, and then Nathan kind of calls me up and he says, and I just set up. And I was about to go and play a gig because I played in this band in LA with some Aussie guys. We called ourselves the Budgie Smugglers, and it was like a kind of acoustic Aussie rock kind of band. And we would play at this bar called the Parlour, and we'd have the footy, the footy playing on the TV screens and rugby and stuff like that. And we'd play not just Australian songs, we'd play all sorts of stuff, but lots of Aussie stuff. And I was just about to go on stage for that, and Nathan calls me up. He says, "Man, you got the gig," and I'm like, shit. And I think he must have thought that I when I said shit, and that I was so excited that I was like, shit, that's great, which it was, but there was also like, shit, I've got to move our whole family now from America back to Australia for this gig, which is great, which is a great thing, but it's like, this is going to be a huge challenge for us all to, because we just need to move. We need to move house from LA to Melbourne, which we did, and the rest is history. But it's a kind of it's a great story that I like to tell about.
Just helping out a friend next minute.
That's right.
Moving your whole life back to Australia, and you got a gig.
Yeah, and then Jacinta obviously will not let me live it down. She's like, I got you that gig.
You do owe her.
I totally do. Yeah.
Well, that's really cool.
But I was stoked. I was absolutely thrilled, and I didn't actually realise the scope of the character of Jake until I got here and had a meeting with Marcia and Pino and stuff, and they sat me down and they went, right, because I only knew what was in the material for the thing. There's a character breakdown. He's this kind of guy, blah, blah, blah. Eh? And then when they said, okay, you've got the gig, obviously, you've signed the contract, now let's tell you what Jake does. And I was like, what, and I was like, I had no idea how integral and how big a character it was.
He's kind of like our second villain that isn't quite a villain, that doesn't know if he's a villain.
Yeah, and that's the duplicitous nature of it is that people don't know whether to love him or to hate him and stuff. I mean, with Ferguson, it's like, well, I love to hate her.
Yeah.
But with Jake, it's like, I don't know whether he's a good guy or a bad guy or...
I'm just going to hurt Alvira.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I know.
Okay, I'm going to ask a couple more questions and then we're going to play a game. Everyone loves our game.
Yeah.
What is your go-to karaoke song?
My Way, Frank Sinatra.
Really?
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. Anyway.
Do you know what's so funny? My daughter is obsessed. She's 2. She's obsessed with that kids movie Sing. And the little mouse sings that song.
Right.
So she actually knows that song.
Yeah.
Purely because of a cartoon.
Right.
And now
I love that movie.
Do you love it? My kids are obsessed with it. It's the best thing ever. It's fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. What Foxtel TV series, not Wentworth, do you love to binge on?
Well, can I say an American thing? I mean,
Yeah, anything's on Foxtel.
Game of Thrones.
Big Game of Thrones fan.
Oh, yeah. We're right up to date, and it's coming up again in July, and we're like, it's been a long time
on
between,
Showcase.
On Showcase. It's been a long time between seasons. I think it seems like it's been a longer time.
It has, because they had to push it back, so it only comes out in April.
Yeah.
They had to push it back, and then it's even going to be a shorter season.
Yeah, right. And then I think they've only got one more season after this, and then it's
finito.
Kaput.
It's going to be lots of deaths.
Oh, there's going to be lots of... No one is safe. No one is safe. And that's... Look, we were talking about this before, but I think that's one of the great things about Wentworth also, is that the writers have adopted that kind of ethos that's used quite to great effect in Game of Thrones. Nobody is safe. You don't know... Like with B. Smith, it's like, she's the most loved character in the show, and they will take the ballsy step of knocking her off, and it's a big move, and it creates. I mean, people get deeply upset by it, but it's also feeling it means that they're invested in the show and they feel deeply about it. So if people are like, how can you do that? At least they're feeling something about it, So,
but it's what keeps you on the edge of your seat. That when you see a scene, you can go, well, they've done it before. Someone might not come out good from this.
Right. Yeah.
And that's drama. That's them having
that's right.
people on the edge of their seat screaming at the TV or crying their eyes out.
Yeah.
That's...
And look, and with B's departure at the end of last season. For this new season, I think it's because that central sort of character that was sort of we saw her come into this prison in season 1, episode 1. So it's kind of seen through B. Smith's eyes, and then without that in the mix, it really opens the show up for each character to have autonomy within that thing. And I mean, I loved Anna, and she was an incredibly, huge force within the show. But now that character is not part of it, I feel as though it's really opened it up for all characters to have great
It's
autonomy.
definitely not driven by one storyline. It was definitely a central character with subplots. This now just feels like a very open storyline with lots of different story arcs happening that then somehow intertwine to each other.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. It's been interesting this season. And people will stay tuned because it's starting to really really escalate.
It's by the time we get to the middle of the season, things start to because I think there's been a lot of just kind of setting up in the first period of this season, and then once we hit mid-season, and then it just starts to absolutely blow shit up, and it's huge. It's huge stuff, and I think I'm going to love watching the reactions to people, as the season progresses towards the finale.
We can't say anymore. We're going to get
No, we can't. That's right.
Let's stop. Let's play a game. Okay, this is our innocent or guilty game. Here is your paddle.
I'm going to start with that because that's probably going to be the most likely one.
Is that put in the shot there, Tom? You can see it. It's not got too much light on it. All right, are you ready? You've got to answer all of these 100% without, I don't know what I'm going to say, 100% truthful.
Okay.
And you can elaborate if you choose to.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been in a punch-up fight? That was a quick spin.
Yeah, no, I've never been punched.
Ever?
No.
Not even by your brothers?
Actually, you know what? I have been in one. I've been in one. And it was my brother and I, Steve and I, were living in a place together, and we decided to throw a party. And these douchebags rocked up. It was actually quite wild. It kind of got out of hand. But these guys rocked up, and they were swinging on our heels hoist. It was like they were kind of bending it and swinging around and getting drunk. And I was like, "Oh, mate, can you stop that?" And they were like, "Yeah." And they kept doing it. And I kept coming up to them saying, "Mate, can you just stop? Can you get off it? Because I asked you to do it before." And the dude, he didn't know who I was, and he said, "Mate, why don't you piss off? We know Steve." And then it sort of started to escalate, and they actually came at me, and then there was a headlock, and there was a bit of a rolling around in the grass, and then someone went inside and got one of my good mates who was he's a fairly tough guy, and he came out and just sorted them out, and so I didn't really do any of the really hard yards, but I got into a bit of a stoush, but let the other guy clean it all up.
Yeah,
and he did.
That's what friends are for. I mean, he's sitting on your heels hoist. He does that.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Have you ever called into work sick because you were hungover? Really?
Oh, no. Called sick?
Called in sick. Oh,
No.
I'm really sick, but you're really hungover.
No.
Or you're just going hungover?
You can't go in hungover. Yeah, I've gone in hungover. But no, you can't. You just cannot do that. I mean, there's no... when you're working on a film set, like a TV set and everything, if you don't rock up, they can't shoot any of that stuff that you're meant to be in. So the whole production grinds to a halt. You wreck everyone's day. Everyone, you go in if you're on death's door, you still go in. That's my,
All right, I like it.
Yeah.
That's how we roll too.
Go in, honey.
Tom's never allowed to have a sick day. Do you have any tattoos? Innocent. Do you know how many of you guys have no tattoos? Yeah. Like every time I ask the question, I'm surprised. Yeah. I'm very surprised. Have you ever been arrested? Guilty. Can I make you spill, or are you just going to leave it there?
Yeah. It was. I used to play hockey, and I was playing with this team called Q, and they would do this kind of hockey trip sort of thing. It's like a hockey carnival over a big weekend. It was in Albury. It was always in Albury, so it was always when you got the bus up to Albury, you knew that it was going to be a piss on. That's you play hockey, but then you just drink. And me and this friend of mine were getting quite loose and quite wild at this RSL that we were at, and one of those places that your parents used to go to play the pokies, because in Victoria pokies were banned and you had to go just over the border in Albury, so they'd get a bus up there and there's all these pokies and stuff. It's like you can go and play the pokies, but then we got kicked out of that joint. And we were like, well, what do we do? We just can't. And then we just started roaming the streets and just causing trouble. It was we young kind of drunkards. And then, we kind of, these cops came and sort of were like going, kind of pull your head in, boys. And we're like, we're basically kind of opening up a bit of lip service to the cops. And they didn't really, and we were like, we're not doing anything wrong. We were being as smart asses to these guys. And this guy who I was with, Ben, is also a deeply smart-ass guy. So we were being really smart with these cops, but we were going, you've got nothing on us, you can't, go ahead and arrest us. There's nothing we're doing wrong. We're being dickheads, yes, but we're not actually breaking the law. We're allowed to be drunk, we're allowed to, we're even allowed to give shit to you, but it's like, to a point. Anyway, then they kind of steamed off, the cops and everything, and then we were walking around and we decided we needed to relieve ourselves. So we went down this little dark alley beside this sort of like a cobblestone alley, and we were there having a piss against the wall, and all of a sudden that same cop car screeches up. They kind of lights on us and all that way. And then they basically said, right, we've got you for indecent exposure. Indecent exposure? What are you talking about? We're having, how many hundreds of guys do that in Albury every weekend?
Well, that was them getting back at you.
That's right. We were smart asses. And then when they hauled us, we were in the back of the divvy van, and I was actually quite like, this is kind of fun. We're getting arrested. It's kind of
this is cool. This is new.
I mean, it's a new experience, right? I didn't think that there was any real danger that we'd be, kind of charged with anything. And then they put us into these holding cells and kind of processed us through the thing, and we were just being wild in this cop shop. We were just kind of being crazy, and this guy Ben was singing songs from Oliver and musicals and stuff, and they're like, shut up! And these cops were getting really pissed off with us because we were just singing. I mean, there's no law against singing in a police station, so we're just singing at the top of our voices. They had to move us from the same cell and moved him around the corner, and then I just hear him, please sir, I want some more, like lines from Oliver, and it was quite hilarious. And then this guy was actually a teacher, I think he was a secondary teacher or maybe a primary school teacher. And they actually let me go. Like, this was a few hours into it, and they said, okay, you get out of here and stuff. But they kept him, and they actually charged him with indecent exposure, which, if the charge stuck, you had to go to court and everything. If the charge stuck, that's a pretty serious thing for a teacher.
To have indecent
You pretty much, your career could be over, you know. So it was actually a pretty serious thing in the end. They didn't charge me at all, but they actually charged Ben, and then he ended up going back up to the Albury, district court or whatever, or the local court, and he had a friend lawyer with him, and he said he had another friend, a local guy who was sort of working with him as a lawyer, and he said, "Who's the judge that we've got?" And he goes, "He likes to convict, this guy." Sure enough, they read the charges. The cop said this and this. He goes, "Guilty," and he's like, hardly really had a chance to kind of try and voice his innocence and everything. And then just so happened that the district court, which is the wider sort of district court, was happening in the same place on that later that day, and they managed to get a sitting in the district court with a different judge to have it to appeal. They appealed it on the same day, and they got it heard by the district court. And of course, the judge kind of came in and said, "What's this?" And they said, "Oh, it's indecent exposure. What are we doing? Oh, having a piss down." And what is this stupid? Innocent, get out of here. And luckily, he got off after that. But
I liked unpacking that one.
Right.
Wow. All right. Okay. Have you ever? Have you ever sent a text to the wrong person?
I'm sure I have. I
do it all
really,
the time. I'm going to get myself in trouble. Yeah. Have you ever injured yourself trying to impress someone?
Of course I have. I mean, I've jumped off houses and trying to do stupid stuff and injured myself.
Cool.
Of course.
Cool.
Yeah, just to be cool. Yeah.
Have you ever re-gifted a gift? Nicole De Silva's guilty of that too.
Of course.
Only you and Nicola.
No, but with kids though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with kids.
You got a re-gift.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered being on a reality TV series?
Well, I hosted one.
No, but for you.
Oh, like to actually be a contestant.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, yes, I was actually offered to be on the the Celebrity Hell's Kitchen, which is shooting right now.
Oh yeah. And
I think my management actually put me forward to host the thing, and they said, "Well, look, there's no real host of the show as such in the structure, but we'd love him to come in and be a contestant." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I think I'll just pass on that one."
Don't want to be in the kitchen with David Oldfield?
I didn't feel as though I'm that proficient to cook,
That's an interesting one. Yeah. Have you ever given your kids bad advice?
Yes.
Haven't we all?
Yeah.
Have you ever Googled yourself?
Everybody's done that.
Have you ever...
And there's lots of nude shots too.
Check out that, guys. Type in Bernie Curry nudes. Bernie Curry nudes. Get on the Google.
And maybe my star meter on IMDb might go up a little bit,
Have you ever dated a castmate?
No, I don't think I have.
Oh, everyone says innocent to that. Yeah. I don't believe it. All right, now we're going to throw to you guys. I'm going to shut up, and we are going to go live to all of you people who have been listening. Get your questions ready. And hang on, I'm just going in now. I've had it switched off so that it just goes ridiculous. Like, the questions come so fast at me. And so I'm going to do my best, guys, to give Bernie the best of the best. Uh-huh. Whoa. Okay.
I'm glad we've actually got some questions.
Here we go. Shirley says, Hey from
G'day,
Sydney.
Shirley.
Hey from Sydney. Your character seems to be multi-layered. I love the show. How do you like the character?
Oh, well, I love the character, Shirley. In fact, I'm actually fairly happy to say that I think this is my favourite character that I've ever played. Basically, it's like you said, it's so multi-layered and so kind of I get to play that sort of charm, because even Ferguson says that, use that, sometimes
Charm. She does.
Use that charm thing. And also that, that kind of, there's sort of moments where he has to do stuff that is, that is really kind of, could be seen as quite evil and stuff. So, it's that, I love the light and shade of Jake in that way. And I think any actor is looking for a character that gives them an opportunity to play that light and shade within a character. And there's so much with Jake that it's great fun. Yeah.
Here's a really cool one from our friend. The social media page Wentworth memes, and they make all the really funny Wentworth memes.
Yeah.
Leah's behind that, and she is incredible. Anyway, Leah wants to know, and this is the reason I'm asking is it's funny. Would you like to see a Wentworth special, like a musical or Christmas special?
Of course. I actually went and saw. It's called. I think it was called Cell Block H. Prisoner Cell Block H. It was a musical in the West End in London.
Really?
Yeah, and it had a drag queen in it. I can't remember. It was a famous English drag queen, and I think what's her name? Who played Joan Ferguson in the original? Maggie Kirkpatrick.
Look at you. Good.
She was in it too, and it was this, she was a drag queen, and it was kind of like a drag show sort of musical thing. But it was hilarious. It was, So
I think it should be. I think we should do it.
Yeah.
Here's a really cool one because we were talking about this earlier. Michelle would like to know, what's it like working with Pamela Ray?
Oh, well, it's just a treat. I mean, I was talking to a lot of people at the Logies the other night about my experience working on Wentworth, and it feels like I just feel as though I've been given a real gift. It's I think any actor would love to play this character of Jake, and I feel as though I'm, sometimes I feel sort of unworthy that I'm. How did I get into this position where I'm playing this great character? I'm working with these incredible people, not just the writers and the crew, and the directors and all of the actors, but people like Pamela, who I have, I've watched with great joy on stage in the MTC, STC, Malthouse. I mean, she's done every single play you could ever think of, and I've seen her in so many of these, and every single time she brings incredible power, and she's such a force on stage because she has that voice, and she's so magnetic. Yeah, that's right. And so I've admired her for many years, and then the opportunity came up now to work with her, and not only just work with her, there's a real kind of intimacy, I think, that Jake and Ferguson have, where they are.
I love the relationship.
It's almost a twisted love story. I mean, it's kind of because they kind of need each other. There's a sort of a symbiosis, I guess, in a certain way. So yeah, it's just been wonderful. It's been one of the great kind of one of the great joys of my career. I mean, not only Pamela, of course, but Kate Atkinson and Kate Jenkinson, and all of the actors within the show have been
they're all fab.
Great supports
and
great.
That's why we love you guys so
actors,
much, because you're all genuine people, but you're fabulous at what you do.
Yeah.
Jamie Bell. Sorry, these questions are coming in fast and furious. I'm going to try and get to as many as I can.
Hi, Jamie.
Jamie Bell. Which cast member are you closest to?
Well, I actually have known Kate Jenkinson for a few years before this, and so we're quite close. I mean, Kate Atkinson also, through working with her, we've become great friends, and she'll often come and see us play in our band on a Sunday night. Here's a little plug for you. Sunday nights at the College Lawn Hotel in Greville Street.
Yeah, good. Do that.
In Paran. Sunday nights we call Johnny Wonderpants, and we play Sunday nights at the College Lawn. So it's, I think 6 till 9 we play. So it's always a bit of fun down there, and she often comes down and dances around and listens to the band and stuff, as Jenko does sometimes as well. And you know, and it's also, look, it is truly a it feels like a family. I mean, when I first got there, the first day that I got there, I was kind of like, I've got to sort of jump onto a moving train here because it's, you know, this whole beast is moving. And I only came into, I think, episode 5 of season 4.
Yes.
And so it was already full steam ahead, and you kind of got to jump on and everything. But I felt really supported by all of the cast, and just welcomed with open arms, you know, as part of this family. And it is. It's whenever we kind of hang out together, it's we really feel like a close knit family, because we do actually spend a lot of time with each other.
And you see that as it comes across on the screen as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to quickly get some more in. Reese Clark. Hi, Bernard.
Hi, Reese.
What has been your favourite scene to shoot so far?
I think there's probably the last. The scene where I shoot Nils Jesper and then blow up the van and stuff. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And the resulting vision of that is great. It's kind of, that's on my show reel. It's like, you know, pulling off the balaclava and stuff like that. But that actually happened. That was the last scene that I shot of season 4. And I had booked a role to go up to Vancouver to shoot an episode of Once Upon a Time. And they had sort of said, we need you by that date. And I'm like, well, Wentworth have me until that date. So it was a crossover. And so Wentworth were able to pull me back a little bit. And Once Upon a Time said, okay, we'll give you that period of time. But what happened, what I had to do was basically shoot this last scene. And it was literally do that. The last scene was that tracking shot where I pull off the balaclava. And then as we finish it, I basically kept walking straight into a waiting car. I had my bag packed and ready to go, went straight to the airport, flew out to Vancouver, and straight into wardrobe and working on you know,
didn't even time to like unpack it.
Yeah, so that was kind of it was a cool
it was a cool scene though. You could
it was a great
kind
scene,
of a big gangster. Right?
And I didn't realise, because I didn't realise how big that explosion was going to be of the car. And I was you know, because I'm standing there, and they had a shot with my behind my back, so they could see the van. They had a shot of me. I'm standing far enough away from it, but when it exploded, it was a huge boom, and I was kind of like really shook a bit. Like I was kind of like, gee, it was kind of scared me.
It's not like you can retake it.
No, that's right. I knew that they couldn't do that again, so I had to kind of keep my composure a bit. And but I was almost like like lost my shit there, but kept it together, luckily enough.
Kelly Knott would like to know, if you weren't an actor, what would you do for a career?
Yes. What was I thinking?
Would you be a singer?
I was thinking about this the other day, actually. I think I'd be like in sort of the science sort of scene, you know, like some kind of a. I mean, look, I think I would be a singer, of course, because that's what I do. But I feel as though that's all part of a performer umbrella.
Performance umbrella, okay.
You know, so, but yeah, I think although I think I'd be a good cop as well. I think I'd be a good investigator.
Cop.
Yeah.
Investigator.
Yeah.
Mel would like to know, what's your favourite snack on set?
Oh, yeah. You know what the best one is? Scotch finger biscuits.
Oh.
And they always go, they always, you know, you've got the kind of the Arnott's mixed pack.
I thought the Monte Carlos and Kingston's go first.
No, they don't. I reckon the Scotch finger biscuits go first. Monte Carlos, yeah, and the Kingstons, yes. And then always the Nice and whatever they always go.
No one wants to eat.
Yeah. But yeah, the Scotch finger biscuits, I'll always kind of, when they open a new pack, I'll just go and grab myself one of those. They're not very good for you. A lot of butter, but they're just delicious.
They are. When you dip them in your tea.
Yeah. And fruit and bananas and stuff.
This is just going crazy. I can't get these questions. So I'm really sorry, guys. I'm trying to get as many as I can. But there is just crazy amount of questions coming in. And
I might be doing too long answers as well. Maybe I should just...
No, they go really fast. Yeah. I'm trying to get to them.
Right.
Oh my God, stop it. Come on, guys. No more highs. Just give me your questions. Oh no, Luke says no. I love milk arrowroot.
Arrowroot? What?
Yeah.
Luke. He's got his simple tastes.
Oh, Michelle Simmons is a bit cheeky.
Hi, Michelle.
Without giving anything away, how far in advance do you know your storylines?
Well, put it this way: we're about to start shooting season 6, and that comes up in about 2 weeks' time, about three weeks' time. And I have no idea what's going. What I know that is not being any word of a lie. I have no idea what Jake is going to be doing, what anybody's going to be doing. We don't have any idea. What a great thing that Marcia and Pino do is that as we have a rehearsal period before we start shooting, and you get to have a meeting with Marcia and Pino, and they will give you your sort of character arc through the course of the season, without, not going into too many specifics. And then we all sit down as a big cast in the boardroom, and then Marcia will go through each kind of episode point in detail, what each character has and how that kind of happens through the course of the episode. So of the season, so that's a great thing because we all sit around this thing and all go, "Oh, that's so cool!" And everyone's like, "Oh," and they're kind of punching each other, going, "Oh, you're nasty, aren't you?" Oh,
this is juicy.
Yeah, juicy stuff. So, but then we get scripts for the episodes that we shoot probably a couple of weeks, about 3 weeks in advance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, guys, Bernie knows what's happening for the rest of this season.
I know what happened because we've shot it all. Yes,
but
I know what's happening. And there's
yeah.
no way I could tell anyone what happens.
No, we don't give away spoilers here.
I can only say that it's awesome. It's good stuff.
Do you know how many people are writing things, I'm not going to name you guys out, who are saying, why is he so attractive? Why do I like him so much? He's so bad, but he's so good looking.
It happens. Maybe that's why they cast me, isn't it?
It's the blue eyes, guys.
It is.
Our last couple ones, a couple of people have asked, and sorry I haven't got all of your names, just going really quick, about like anyone that does pranks on set or any bloopers, or is anyone notorious for pranks?
Robbie
right?
is always running some sort of prank or another, and the editors are great. They actually do collect all of the little bloopers that we make through the course of the season. So if you stuff up a line or oh no, I can't say that. But
you can't say that.
No,
yeah.
I can't say that one. But there was a couple of bloopers that got saved, and then we get to see them at the rap party and have a big
and guys,
goof
we normally at the end of the season when it's already shown in the other regions and it's all said and done, we will post the bloopers to the Wentworth page. Yeah. But it's obviously got to keep the integrity of the show, not just for the Australian region, but for the other region, and then we'll share a couple of bloopers.
Yeah, because they're fun.
Yeah.
And it gets to show people as people, and the actors playing characters, and then they break from that character, and that's a joyous thing for people to watch, particularly when they're laughing.
Pam does it really well too.
Yeah.
I've watched Pam in action. All right, a couple more guys, because then we need to get on to our last 15. People want to come watch you in your band.
Oh yeah, good.
People are saying hi from Canada, hi from here. What are you drinking? He's drinking water. I can tell you now. It's water. That's all it is from a Wentworth cup.
It's just water.
Can you see?
Can you see what I mean? It's quite just water. I mean, it's only 2 nights after the Logie, so I'm still recovering.
Yeah, we all need water. Okay. Oh. There's lots of people asking if B's dead. Look, B is dead. She's dead.
Yeah, she's dead.
Let's confirm that right now.
I thought they made that quite clear in the first 5 minutes of episode 1. Like they were making no mistake about
being
pretty clear about that. Yeah.
Pretty divine. Okay, last one is from, I'm picking it out, Tanisha Brown.
Hi, Tanisha.
Who is your favourite inmate?
Who's my favourite inmate?
As in, she must mean, out of all the inmates' characters, which is your favourite inmate?
Look, I would have to say Jane Ferguson, I think.
She is.
Yeah.
She's a good one.
Yeah. You know, particularly because I've had so much to do with her, and you know, had quite parallel storylines and everything, and you know, sort of deeply involved with her. But yeah, you know, she's such a powerful presence in the show. So and she's so kind of galvanizing. Well, I guess she's not really galvanizing. It's pretty clear everyone hates her, but
they love to hate her.
They love to hate her.
That's
right.
hard to achieve. Yeah. Well, thanks guys for all of your questions. There were so many, and they were amazing. As every week, they are amazing.
Thanks, guys.
And now, because I've got to let Bernie go, I've held him in the interrogation room longer than I'm allowed to.
I'm sweating.
He is.
Yeah.
We're going to do the Foxtel Final 15. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Sydney or Melbourne?
Yeah, I know that this is supposed to be a fast one, but I have quite strong feelings about this. I lived in Sydney for 3.5 years, and I'm Melbourne born and raised, and this is where I'm from, and I have I'm quite parochial to Melbourne, but I love Sydney, and Sydney and Melbourne are so different that you can't really compare the two. They happily coexist as an awesome city there and an awesome city there. There shouldn't be one's better than the other. They're both just amazing, and they both have their own things about them that make them incredible, and some things that are kind of not so great about each city, but there's no comparison.
See, but I'm from Sydney and I love Melbourne. But maybe it's because I'm in Sydney and it's boring because I'm there. But when I come to Melbourne, I love it.
But, you know, Sydney is awesome, though. Like, all the beaches and...
Oh, yeah,
beaches. You can't deny that.
All right. Teal or orange?
Orange.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you not see where I was going there with that question?
Well, no, but, you know, it's a favourite colour, right?
No. Well...
All right, teal.
Prisoners in Wentworth wear teal, and another show that's in a prison wear orange.
Right. Oh, okay, so teal, of course.
Beer or wine?
I haven't even seen Oranges in the New Black.
I didn't say that. I didn't say anything. I didn't name a show, Bernie. I just was saying which colour you liked. Beer or wine?
Both in equal measure.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Governor Ferguson or Governor Bennett?
Governor Stewart.
Oh. Phone call or text?
Phone call.
Facebook or Instagram?
Facebook.
You don't really do either.
Huh?
You do it personally, but you're not as super active on social media.
Well, I'm not super active. I do a bit of Twitter, but not, I'm not like constantly doing it. It's not part of me.
Yeah.
You know?
Cool.
I should do more. I know I should do more.
No, but you still do these. This is what the fans want.
Yeah,
Just because you personally don't do it, you still do these, which is great.
Yeah.
Passenger or driver?
Driver.
Oh,
yeah.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
I made a good tea before, didn't I?
Great tea. I actually don't drink coffee.
Oh, really? I don't drink coffee either.
Yeah, right.
I just drink tea. TV or book?
TV.
Winter or summer?
Summer.
Heels or sneakers?
On who?
On you.
No. The sneakers.
Really? Oh, I thought you were going to say heels. Definitely? Oh, okay. All right. We've got some trucks on. Dine in or dine out?
Dine out.
Dine out? Oh, I'd dine out too.
Yeah.
Will Jackson or Linda Miles?
Oh, it's hard to...
I know, it's an interrogation room.
That's an interrogation. Well, it's a really tough one.
Well, that's what I'm here to do. Ask the tough questions.
Linda Miles.
Smiles. Fries or salad?
Salad.
Loud or quiet?
Loud.
We've come to
Definitely
the end.
Loud.
We've taken it all the way. You have been fabulous in our interrogation room.
Thanks,
you have answered
Kel.
all of my questions and more.
Yeah.
And let's do some last minute things for you guys. So we want everyone to make sure that they tune in next Tuesday, 8:30 on Showcase at 5.
At 5.
Very exciting stuff. It's like just before. It's like we're nearly at that.
Yeah, F5 is a really good one, and then F6 is truly the
next level.
Is where it kind of starts to explode, and it's a great episode. So you can't miss that one. You can't miss either of them.
And also too, I've been asking everyone that comes to these rooms, do you know who the Wentworth rat is?
No.
Because there's a rat in the prison that has been texting people. It's been giving away spoilers. It's been giving away. You don't know.
No, I don't know who it is. All I do know is that it's not me.
But you didn't say that with very much conviction.
I know.
I'm interrogating you and you smiled, so I feel
how
like
do you
it
know?
could be you.
Because of this Jake, you just don't know whether he's...
Could be.
Right.
Or he could be providing the phone to the person that's doing it. Because he's underhanded like that.
Of course, that's right. He would do something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. The rat seems to be giving away spoilers.
Yeah.
It's giving away storylines.
I don't know who the rat is. I'll
And
tell you, if I do find
and you
him
know
or her...
what? It's a little bit cheeky. Like it's got some lip.
Right, really?
Yeah.
It's a ballsy move.
Gets caught.
Lagging.
It's basically lagging. It's basically public lagging.
That's right.
Anyway, thank you so much, Bernie. We always love to have you.
Yeah, anytime.
Thank you, everyone, for your questions, and tune in next week.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah, thanks for all of your questions, guys, and it's always such a pleasure talking to everybody out there. It's kind of a weird thing, but you know you're talking to hundreds of people out there, and there's really only 2 people in the room. But thanks for watching. Thanks for being so supportive of this show that we all love so much, and we hope to always try and bring you the best show that this can be. So we love you for that.
Cool. Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, guys.